This is my crazy adventure to Israel, where everything kept going wrong. Now, I've booked loads of these cheap flight adventures and they've all gone really well. The worst thing to happen is on my very first cheap flight adventure, which is actually the very first time I've ever been on a plane. When I went to Copenhagen, on the way back there's a 5-hour delay, and that was really stressful. But other than that, it's all gone really well despite how little money I've been paying. And I think this time I got overconfident as I messed up the booking and it ended up costing me quite a bit. Although compared to what other people usually pay for these sort of trips, I guess I'm paying quite a bit less than what other people pay. But for me, I like to pay like under £100 for each cheap flight adventure, and sometimes even less than that. And it ended up costing £170, which is a bit higher than normal, but I guess not too bad. I messed up the booking because I wanted to go to Eilat in Israel, and that's actually too far for Ryanair to do a short haul from London to Eilat. So I was going to do it as a 4-part trip to get there then back to London again. And it turns out Wizz Air actually did London to Eilat as a short haul, when all of the other companies did it as a long haul, and I cannot afford long hauls. So I booked Wizz Air from London Luton to Eilat, then Ryanair from Eilat to my next destination. Then I did that, booked it without checking I could book from that destination back to London again. How stupid was I? I just assumed I could book the last flight, but it turns out I couldn't. It turns out the only way was to return to London, but I returned to a different airport to return back to Stansted. So I was flying from Luton, returning to Stansted. That was a stupid mistake. And it turns out it was still cheaper to drive than take the train, because take the train from where I am up to Luton, then Stansted back to where I am, I'd be 2 single tickets and I'd come to over £40. Trains are so overpriced. So the cheapest way now was to drive to Stansted, take a coach from Stansted to Luton, then I'd return to Stansted and then drive back home again. And the coach, just to go from Stansted Airport to Luton Airport, which is a very short distance, cost £15. That is ridiculous. That is blatantly taking advantage of people who are flying to and from different London airports. £15 just to go from Stansted to Luton. Now that was the first thing to go wrong. Now to the second thing that went wrong. I was driving along to Stansted Airport to get my coach to Luton, and then they shut the motorway. There was a massive crash on the motorway up to Stansted, and they closed both lanes, so it must have been a very big crash. And I looked at my sat-nav, it'd take me an hour and a half to get to Stansted, just up the last bit of motorway, which usually only takes 20 minutes. I would not get to Stansted in time. That just made me realise how dependent I am on all of the roads working correctly to do these cheap flight adventures. And if this had happened on all my other cheap flight adventures, the adventure would pretty much be cancelled. But luckily this time I could still do the adventure by driving to Luton. So I drove to Luton, then had to rebook my bus. So when I arrived to Stansted, when coming home from this adventure, I'd then have to get a coach back along to Luton to pick up my car. And National Express charged me £6.50 just to rebook the coach. That is ridiculous. National Express are just an awful rip-off company. So then, here I am at Luton Airport, getting on the Wizz Air plane along to Eilat in Israel. And it's a 5-hour flight, the longest flight I've ever done. I got on the plane last so I could find 3 seats to myself. The plane was actually not full at all, so there's plenty of seats. So I could actually relax and lie down across 3 seats. It was 5 hours, but it wasn't too bad really, but since I could lie down. So now for the next thing to go wrong. A plane was flying along, it was flying above Israel. Everyone put on their seatbelts since there's some weird law in Israel where all air passengers have to wear seatbelts at all time. And it was coming along to Ovda Airport, and Ovda is this little tiny airport which is literally just a landing strip in the middle of the desert, 30 miles north of Eilat. I don't know why they can't land at the actual Eilat airport. I think the airport might be a bit too small, but surely they could easily build another airport. It's all desert. All they'd have to do is lay tarmac and then you've got an airport. Why on earth do they land 30 miles north at this little shithole? So anyway, it was coming along to Ovda Airport, and then the plane suddenly turned and headed north. And I was looking at GPS and I was like, what the fuck is going on? The pilot didn't announce anything, and just for a moment it was like, what is happening? Why is this plane gone off course? And then the pilot announced they couldn't land at Ovda due to the storm. Now it's very little rain in Israel, just my bad luck I was going here on one of the few days a year where there's a massive storm there. Oh dear. And I don't think Ovda Airport is big enough to have landing guidance, so I had to land at Tel Aviv. And some of the passengers were actually really happy, but some passengers were actually going to Tel Aviv and it's really expensive to go. It's like £100 for an aeroplane ticket to get to Tel Aviv. So we're going to Ovda, then getting a coach up there. But everyone else on the plane was really annoyed. And here's the plane landing into Tel Aviv. then here I am at Tel Aviv Ben Gurion Airport, and this airport is famous for being the world's strictest airport. This is the most secure airport in the entire world, and I've heard lots of stories about it. And initially it didn't seem any different to any other airport. There was no more security cameras about than any other airport. I was thinking, how is this the world's most secure airport? Well, I'd find out later on. As for now, lots of passengers were getting really angry because there was not much communication with Wizz Air of what was actually going on, and Wizz Air was meant to be providing a bus to Ovda.
אם לי עכשיו היו פה לקוחות בעל שירות, הייתי צריכה לתת להם 100%. אני מבין אותך, אבל זה מה שנתנו לנו כאופציה בחברת הוא יחזור על עצמו לקוני במקום. So eventually Wizz Air managed to arrange a coach to Ovda, so we all went out of the airport to where the coach would pick us up, and it felt like forever for the coach to actually turn up. Wizz Air didn't have a clue what's going on, and while we were waiting for the coach, I went off to film some lifts. And the lifts in Ben Gurion Airport have Dewhurst buttons, which was unexpected, and they are these great big massive lifts that can fit loads of people, and on every single floor the lifts open both sides, and everyone getting in the lift queues up on one side, and when the lift arrives at a floor it opens up on the other side to let the passengers out before letting other passengers in. It's quite an unusual system. Let's ride it!
Retail Center, Airline Ticketing Desk, VAT.
And now comes the time when I found out a Ben Gurion Airport is in fact the world's strictest. And even though there isn't any more security cameras than any other airport, they do a security method that's not that much seen in the UK. They use stooges. People are just dressed up as tourists walking around the airport who are actually security. You get this occasion in England, but not to the extent that they do in Israel. And I'm not sure if they noticed us filming or if they were just randomly suspicious of me, because security goes around this airport and they just go up to random people questioning them why they're at the airport. It's an odd security method, and security came up to me, and I actually thought he's a taxi guy to start with, because there's lots of people about going, taxi? Do you want a taxi? So when security walked up, I was like, no, don't want a taxi. He was like, no, I'm security. Why are you at this airport? Show me your passport and plane ticket. And after I showed him passport and plane ticket and explained what's going on, he then just walked off. So it's an odd security method. And then finally the coach turned up to take us to Ovda. But as it's so late at night, rather than going straight to Ovda, the coach would first take us to a hotel. So here I am on the coach, and the only thing I have to really say about this coach is at least there's a nice sounding ZF. Then the coach took us to a hotel in Tel Aviv. And in a way, the next part is actually kind of fortunate, because the hotel Wizz Air had booked for us was actually a rather posh hotel. It wasn't like ultra posh, but it was like much posher than the hotel I'd normally stay at. It was the Leonardo Art Hotel on the Tel Aviv coast. Wow, I did not expect Wizz Air to book such a nice hotel. So let's take a look around this hotel and take a look at the lifts.
Hamali Bolan, lift going up. Command Shishik, 6th floor.
hotel actually has a swimming pool on the roof. It's a really nice hotel, but sadly the coach was picking us up early the next day and I had to get some sleep because I've got a health condition. I can't really miss out on sleep, and that's really frustrating. I had a really nice swimming pool which I couldn't use because I didn't have enough time, and around this hotel was loads of other nice hotels which I would have loved to go and explore, but I couldn't because I had to sleep. Oh, so annoying. Anyway, here's my hotel room. And this hotel room is really big. I wasn't expecting a room this big, and it's really nice here. And even though I haven't really liked Wizz Air that much, the fact they've booked such a nice hotel for us, my opinion of Wizz Air has really gone up. This is actually really impressive. The only downside is that the hotel refused to give us dinner, and Wizz Air said the hotel would give us breakfast and dinner. So then, the next day, I then get on the coach along to Ovda. There's a bit of a panic because the coach didn't turn up. Turned out the coach had stopped at the wrong hotel. Luckily we spotted the coach and got on it. One thing that's a bit disappointing is, why is the coach only taking us to Ovda? Surely Wizz Air could have paid the extra as a goodwill gesture and took us to Eilat. I mean, they've paid for this really expensive hotel, which they didn't really need to do, really. So surely it wouldn't have been much for Wizz Air to have paid the extra 30 miles for the coach to have taken us to Eilat rather than to Ovda. And here is the coach leaving Tel Aviv, and just look at all of these amazing looking buildings. This looks epic. I've really wanted to visit Tel Aviv, and it's so frustrating to know I've been here but haven't been able to go and see anything. Oh, it looks so good. So after leaving Tel Aviv, the coach goes down to Ovda, which is a 4-hour coach journey. And the coach stopped off at a petrol station en route. So then the coach now goes along to Ovda Airport. So then here's the scenery outside of the coach as it goes along. And this scenery is spectacular. And here I am at Ovda, a little tiny shithole airport. Now Ryanair and Wizz Air airports I go to, I usually like little shithole airports a long way out of cities, but this takes shithole airport to a whole new level. This place is fucking shit. It is awful. And then, the fourth thing to go wrong. I couldn't get on the bus from Ovda Airport to Eilat. They would only accept cash, and I didn't have any Israel money on me. And they said, to get some money, I have to go along to the money exchange. So I went to the money exchange booth and asked them, can I draw out some Israel money? And they said, no, you can't withdraw Israel money here. This is an exchange booth. You can only exchange money. What the fuck? I just signed up for a new bank card. I could withdraw money anywhere in the world without being charged. And they're telling me I can't withdraw money, instead I'd have to exchange money. And I couldn't even exchange money because I don't carry British pounds on me. In England I always use my card, so I had no pounds on me to exchange. So a person then said they could withdraw me some dollars, then convert the dollars to Israel money. This is a fucking scam. That is absolutely stupid. I'd mean a double conversion. And even though my money card wouldn't have charged me to withdraw the dollars, the exchange booth would then charge a ridiculous rate to convert those dollars into Israel money. That is ridiculous. Why is US dollars even involved in any of this? US dollars shouldn't even be a thing at this point. Is this stupid? And then the person took my card and faffed about for ages, and I thought I was going to miss his bus. And I couldn't even withdraw the dollars from my card. Why the fuck couldn't I have just withdrawn Israel money direct from my card? I don't get it. The whole thing's a scam. And why is there no cash point machine at this airport? So I had no way of getting on this bus. I asked the driver if I could pay him when I get to a destination, and he was like, no, you must pay now. I was trapped at this airport, and then a very kind person came along and gave me a bus ticket. Turns out he brought too many bus tickets or something and was flying off and didn't need his bus ticket anymore, and he just gave me a bus ticket. And thanks to this very kind person, I was able to get on this bus So I finally managed to get on this coach from Ovda along to Eilat. It's a rather bog standard coach. The only interesting thing about it is it's got a really nice sounding ZF. And let's take a listen to a full acceleration from 0 to top speed of this ZF. So then on this journey from Ovda along to Eilat, the coach goes alongside the Israel-Egyptian border, and just across this big fence is Egypt. And this is like a massive fence separating Israel to Egypt. Donald Trump, if you're watching this, please do not get any ideas from this video. So finally I now arrive in Eilat, and here is Eilat bus station, which is probably the most boring, dingy bit of Eilat. The rest of it is all nice. This bus station was like, ugh. So then, because of the large amount of time it took me to get to Eilat, I now just had 8 hours to see the whole of Eilat. The original plan was I'd arrive there, sleep overnight, then have an entire day to see Eilat, sleep another night, then fly off to my next destination, and that isn't really enough time. But just 8 hours, that's ridiculous. But despite the very short amount of time, I actually managed to see everything that I wanted to, because Eilat isn't actually that big, and I'm actually quite pleased with that I managed to see it all. So make sure you check out my cheap flight adventure to see what all of the lifts and hotels are like here. As for this video, after I filmed my cheap flight adventure, I then went along to the place where I should have been staying, in Eilat, which is Palmer Diving Resort, which is a little hostel that costs £20-25 a night, and it's really nice. It's actually one of the nicest places I've stayed, and this is a diving resort, so this place is actually designed for people that want to go diving in the sea. And Jordan, B-Face Computing, actually does diving, and he tells me it's a very expensive hobby, and this place is actually designed so people can actually do diving in the Red Sea on the south of Israel at a cheaper rate than how much it normally costs to go diving. They've got loads of diving equipment that you can hire. So then, it's now the next day. Here's my hotel room. And it's time to get on my bus back to Ovda Airport. But to get on the bus, I need to withdraw some money, and all of the cash point machines in Eilat charge a stupid amount of money just to withdraw cash. It's ridiculous. I tried all the cash point machines around Eilat when I was going around previous day, and they all charged, and then luckily I managed to find one that didn't charge, which was in the bank near to the bus station, and the minimum amount I could withdraw was 50, and the bus only costs 21.5, and that comes to about £5, but I had to draw 50, which is like about £12, meaning I had to then spend 28.5 whether I liked it or not. And that's actually the reason why I really don't like withdrawing money, is because you're always left over with little bits of money. After this, I then went back on the bus to Ovda, and the bus wasn't big enough to fit all of the people I need to get to the airport. There's actually one bus departs Eilat for each plane departing of the airport, so the buses are synced up to planes, and the buses are not big enough for an entire plane load of people. That is bad. I hope the people that didn't get on this bus managed to get this flight. I'm guessing they had to get in taxis, which have been very overpriced. So then, along to Ovda Airport, the worst airport in the world. It's famous for people missing air flights because it's really understaffed. Luckily, the plane was only about 2/3 full, so everyone just got on the plane, only just got to the gate in time. So for those of you that don't know, here is how Israel security works. First, you arrive at the airport and go into a massive long queue which takes forever. After the long queue, you then go to the first interview and you get asked loads of questions. Why did you go to Israel? What is your purpose of your visit? What have you got in your bags? Did you pack your bags yourself? Did someone give you a present and put it in your bag? It could be a bomb. And after they interviewed me, I thought I answered all the questions well, but then they gave me 6. The highest rating. I only give 6 to people I think are a very high security risk. Oh dear. After this, I then go along to the X-ray machines, and this is part of Israel security. It's like 2 parts to it, Israel security and airport security. So this is the Israel security X-ray machines. This is like a really big professional X-ray machine. It's the sort that spins around your bag. It takes loads of different pictures of it at different angles. I X-rayed my bags, then I got called to a next booth for another interview. The person then got the X-rays on their computer screen of my bags, asked me a couple of questions, but then because I scored 6 at the first interview, I had to be taken to the extended interview for further questioning. They asked me loads of questions. I gave you back the wrong passport, which was a little bit scary, but then luckily I realised the mistake and gave you back the correct passport. Then I go along to the Ryanair desk, which I didn't need to do because I don't have any checked in bags. Then, only then, is Israel security complete, and you then go on to airport security. So then you have to have your bags X-rayed again, even though they've already been very thoroughly X-rayed at a far better X-ray machine than this one, but nevertheless X-ray again. Then you go along to passport control. My passport had already been checked 6 times already, but oh well. And only then you get to the gate and get on the plane. I only just got there in time, and here is the Ryanair plane departing Ovda.